video from Journey of a Petrolhead, driving the 1.1 i20 diesel in Greece. Lovely weather. We do all our reviews here. So we've taken this down from Athens to Kalamata. We've done quite a few 100 kilometers in the 1.1 diesel. And to be honest, I was surprised when I discovered it was a 1.1 diesel. This thing drives really well on motorways. There's lots of torque when you need it. It's good for overtaking. It's great on fuel economy. And surprisingly, she's got a 6-speed gearbox. So it's got power and torque no matter what situation you find yourself in. This morning, took it around the town in Kalamata quite a bit, and in traffic, very nippy. Really quick in the gears, lovely gear change, nice acceleration. It's a diesel, so it's a little noisy here and there, the low speeds. You can probably hear that now over my voice. But all in all, compare this to the 208 review we did recently. I actually prefer driving this, and the 208 had a 1.6 diesel engine. This only has a 1.1 with 75 horsepower. Doesn't need any more. It's a nice small light car, drives very nicely. Would really recommend people look at this particular 1.1 diesel engine for buying used i20s. Now, I say used i20s, Hyundai stopped producing these cars with a diesel engine in 2018, and that's a real shame. This is a real corker of an engine. I like driving this car a lot. We do have other issues driving this car. The dashboard is nicer than in the 208. I like how clear the instruments are. I like this digital fuel gauge and a digital temperature gauge. What I don't like, driving it down last night in the dark, I can't adjust the brightness for the controls. So I was actually dazzled quite a lot in the dark motorways of Greece. As I looked in the driver's mirror, for example, when overtaking somebody, the brightness of the instruments was illuminating in the window, and it was causing me a problem. So that's not well thought out, Hyundai. You need to be able to adjust your brightness controls. I wasn't very happy with that. I also don't like the fact that this really is a poverty spec version. You get nothing. There's no Bluetooth, there's single zone climate control, there is no one touch for the driver's window, there's no buttons on the key to unlock the car. You do get airbags, you get manual windy windows in the back. You don't get much else really. For power socket, you have USB, you have auxiliary for music, but the spec level on this is not great. We can't adjust the brightness and illumination. That was really annoying me yesterday. When we took the 208 to Greece a few weeks ago, I drove quite a distance. I drove a similar distance to what I've driven this one, and what I didn't like was the 208 seat gave me a bit of back pain. The support wasn't great. In this car, I do not have lumbar support for the driver's seat, but I have a much more comfortable driver's seat. I have no problems driving this. I've driven it a few hundred kilometers. I'm feeling fine. I quite like it. The comfort level of the driver's position is really nice here. Peugeot could take a leaf out of Hyundai's book. I'm very impressed with this. What I am so impressed with, apart from Greek driving, well done, is the driver's convenience controls. No Bluetooth, I just said that. I can't change the position of the driving mirrors. Side mirrors are manual. I haven't seen manual side mirrors in a car in many years, so that's a bit silly. I don't like that so much. That just makes it awkward for the driver to change the driver. You gotta get the mirrors right at the start. Sorry, don't like it. In this particular car, we have a small problem with our build quality. The passenger mirror is bouncing around the place. It's not an adjustment issue. I think one of the snaps on the back of the glass of the mirror has actually come away, and it just rattles. It's a bit disconcerting and a bit distracting. The rear visibility in this car, apart from the bouncy side mirror we just talked about, the rear visibility is very good. The driving mirror is bigger than it was in the 208. I think the rear window is slightly bigger too, so I can see everything much clearer, and I like the driving mirrors are big, albeit manually adjusted. I like those too. That's not so bad. Overall, I'm enjoying driving the i20 diesel. I'm disappointed that Hyundai don't do this engine anymore. It's quite nice. It's got the poke when you want it, as we said, and it's easy to drive around town. I forgot to mention parking. There are no sensors, there's no driving aids for parking, but it's a small car. There's no problem parallel parking this car. It's quite obvious where the ends of it are, with the possible exception of the extreme corners on the front in a narrow parking space. It can be tricky to judge where the bumper ends. And on this particular model, the people who had it before us, I do see some scrapes on the sides, suggesting that people have had trouble just swinging in on a parallel parking angle, which is fine. It's just taking some getting used to. So overall, I do like driving this. I prefer this over the Peugeot. If I had a choice right now between the 208, which had more interior toys, or this particular i20, I'd actually drive this one. I prefer the driving. Check into the next video to see what we think of the interior, and as always, give it a like and subscribe. Thanks guys.